Good morning and welcome to the Atelier Nekozuki podcast. My name is Katie and this is episode 65. Today is February 20th, I believe, 2019, and this is Quality Control Inspector Flynn, who, since the last podcast, has actually grown quite a bit. And totally unanticipated hiatus. It happened. I seem to be really bad at not announcing that I'm going on unplanned hiatus. But hopefully I get my butt in gear and keep up with it this year because I really do want to. Yeah, I did notice that we are up over 250 subscribers on the YouTube channel now, so thank you so much for joining me, guys. I guess I'll go over a little bit of an introduction simply because it seems like there's a lot of new viewers and it always helps, and sometimes it's a nice refresher because I'm not expecting everyone to go through 64 episodes before this to catch up on everything. But I'm Katie. I live in Cochrane, Alberta, Canada, with my 3 cats and my husband. Half the time he works a camp job, so he is a week in, week out schedule, and so when he's not home, I make project bags for knitters. I make project bags actually out of, knitters, crocheters. I've started adding products for cross stitchers and notions pouches, which realistically anyone can use. And you can also use the bags for anything you can think of, like cosmetics or toiletries. Or the bag is your oyster. Put what you want in it. But I make the bags out of Japanese fabrics. I was an exchange student in Japan for 9 months in 2009 to 2010, so just about 10 years now since I was there on exchange. As a university student, I went when I was at the University of Calgary, and I studied abroad in Hirokatashi, Osaka at the Kansai Gaidai University, or Kansai Gaidai Daigaku. And so it's got a lot of meaning for me. I'd wanted to do a study abroad program. It's one of the main reasons I actually stuck with University of Calgary, is because they had a lot of really good options. And it was one of the best experiences of university. University was good for me. It taught me a lot of critical thinking skills, but I totally went for the exchange possibilities. And a lot of my really good friends came out of that exchange as well. So, and it solidified my relationship with my husband because we started dating 6 months before I left, and then I left for Japan for 9 months. So we had a long distance relationship 6 months into the relationship, and now we're coming up on 10 years, guys. March 24th is 10 years together. This year is also our 5th wedding anniversary, so that's pretty exciting. There's a super secret project going on right now, so I don't actually have a lot of, that's a lie. I don't have any sewing. Not a lot. I don't have any sewing to show you this week, because there's stuff happening for the studio. So it's in a complete uproar. My studio is always in an uproar, but it's in a particular uproar right now because there's a bunch of stuff stuffed in there just to kind of store it for a little bit. There are some exciting things coming soon though, and I don't want to say anything, but it is an order I sent to a shop, so keep an eye peeled for that. That announcement will be happening on March 20th. There's also a big shuffle for the shop coming up, and I'll make announcements about that closer to the date too. Maybe subscribe to the newsletter. That's going to be one of the easiest ways to find out only about shop news, not just overall podcast news. And I guess that's kind of what I'll do, is I'll run through of what this podcast normally is for all of your new viewers, and then we'll go from there. So typically the podcast is mostly about shenanigans, reading and knitting, because it's more of a podcast about me outside of my job, so more about the hobbies. However, when I am sewing and I'm in the full throes of show production and all of that, then the focus becomes a lot more on producing or like I'm trying to balance it better. I'm trying to get a better work-life balance, which I know is a struggle for everyone. I think it's a particular struggle when you have your own business, and especially creative business. So this year it's going to be more of a balance between the knitting and the sewing. So I've always got something, a little bit of each to show you at least every other week. I am trying to make sure that I record this every week. And so this is my attempt to start now. I'm going to try and record on Wednesdays and have this up by at least Friday, if not Wednesday or Thursday, so that you can watch it on the weekend. So, because I know that lots of people with Monday to Friday jobs, the weekend is prime podcast time, or, you know, whenever you can fit it. I've actually got a ton of podcasts to catch up on right now, because I've been like super busy with the secret project, so you know. All right, so this week I do have some knitting. I surprisingly, for how long of a break I took, I don't have a lot of knitting, although when I was recorded last, I saw I had my husband's slippers done, and then the socks were being knit. I did finish the socks. I actually think I finished them far before Christmas. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And what I ended up doing is I've put a ton of work on my Seraphim vest. So this is the Seraphim vest by Nadia Stallings, out of Ancient Arts Yarns Merino DK. And this is my progress keeper from the Crafty Colon, Leah. Super cute. It's a little teacup. I'll show you this before I get into the knitting stuff. A little tiny teacup. Come on, camera. Maybe. No, refuses. Anyway, and then it's actually got, I think this one's sparkly, so it's got little sparkles in the, like, hey, there you can see the lemon and the detailing on the cup. Yeah, so this is the Seraphim vest. This is the long version, so it's a mosaic pattern at the bottom. It does not make me look that orange when I actually have it. That's just the camera freaking out, because I do not have the best lighting right now. But the top color is Iron Horse. It's a nice, gorgeous charcoal gray, and then the pink is Raspberry Gelato. So I don't remember. I think I've got like, I think I'm about halfway. I've screwed up the those things, the decreases somehow, and I don't know how. I did not make any notes on the pattern, so I think what ended up happening is I might have cast on for a smaller size than I thought I had, and so, or I cast on for a larger size, and technically I need to go down to the smaller size. I don't know what happened. I am going to continue to decrease until I get to the smaller size, because I definitely don't have enough length yet, because this is supposed to be like a coat vest. There we go. That's the good way to describe it. So yeah, I gotta keep going, but it's going to be gorgeous, and I'm going to love it, but it is a slog. It's this, because of the pattern here, so it's not much, but it's just enough to trip you up. If I had been smart, I would have just done stockinette, but I do also understand why the pattern is the way it is, because this would be a lot of stockinette to knit too. So I don't know, but it's kind of a rib. I do like how the decreases have bled into each other though. So you can kind of see that there. And I don't remember where I got these stitch markers from. They're a gift from Caroline, so I don't know where she got them, but they're super cute. They're little kitty cats. Kitty cats. Look at that. Super cute. Anyway, yeah, it's a long-term project. I will slowly get there. So that's something that I worked on a lot over Christmas. It's also what, last year I got it really bad, but this year I aggravated, I have a bit of tendonitis in my left shoulder if I knit too much, repetitive stress injuries, and I don't do the proper take a break every 20 minutes and stretch, that's for sure, especially over Christmas. So after 3 weeks worth of just sitting and knitting, pretty much, that's all I did over Christmas, my shoulder was definitely telling me that I needed to take a break. So this year, what I did is I listened and I took a break so that, I wasn't out of commission for 6 weeks. Because I think last year I ended up, it was really sore up until mid-February, and then we went away and I gave it like a week break, kind of, and it got better, so I just decided to take quite a few more weeks. So yeah, this year I actually listened to my body and went, no, we're just taking a break. What did I do instead? Oh yeah, I'll talk about it in chatter, because it was a lot of video gaming. Not the best thing either for like forearms and stuff like that, but it was a different stress than than the knitting. I think I've shown these before, but this is the first two of a matching mismatched pair of couples socks. This is Dallas's sock, this is my sock. Obviously quite a bit of difference. And I'm working on the seconds of that right now. So this one is mine and this one is Dallas's. So what they'll do is they will match, but mismatch, because he likes wearing socks. He's basically in an office position up north, and sitting at a desk at least, and I guess not an office position. He's as much of a desk job as he can be for his job. Sorry. But yeah, so they'll go with these guys. And these guys are all living in one of my knot bags. Couldn't not have this one. So it's actually perfect. I'm amazed that the cats haven't gotten into it more. I don't think they're too attracted to that yarn though, so that's it. And then I did get yarn to start a wedding gift. So I'm crocheting actually the dots blanket out of Comfort Knitting and Crochet Afghans. So it's this one here. But I've changed the colors up, so this is one of the colors and one of the dots. I do need to get cracking on this because we've got 2 summer weddings and this is for one of them. Yeah, it's super simple, super quick, which is nice because typically I do end up knitting blankets, but I wasn't feeling it this year. So typically I end up knitting actually the log cabin blanket, but I'm burnt out on log cabins. So I decided that crochet would be a little bit better of an option this year. This is Estelle worsted. It's a wool acrylic nylon blend, so it'll be washable, and it was less expensive to purchase for a full-size blanket because it's not a small blanket. And then finally, I cast on one last thing before the end of the Blame Dunder Knit along with Caroline of Vicariously Knitting Vicariously. One of those 2 ways. So I cast on the Pompidou shawl by Karina. Oh my goodness, guys, I didn't look at it. But her first name's Karina, and it was designed for Tribe Yarn Life. It's a local yarn store in London. Obviously, I don't live in London, and this is London, England, not London, Ontario. But I watched Caroline's podcast, and she was talking about this, and it is glorious. So this is knit from 2 different yarns. This is knit from, I picked this up at Knit City. This is King Fiber in her merino singles in the underwater colorway. And I had to have it because it looked like, if you've seen Moana, it's like the underworld, the realm of monsters. And so it's super awesome. I love it. That's what it reminds me of, just because of the bright colors. That's one of my favorite scenes in Moana. I love Moana, but one of my favorite things is the representation of the underworld, because it like makes my geeky heart, like my my literature heart, so happy, because it's like the archetypal hero journey, and Moana's story is a quest story, and to be a hero, or heroine in this case, an archetypal hero, the hero has to descend to the underworld and return. And that's exactly what she does with the Realm of Monsters. And it was amazing. So this makes that's why this yarn makes me so happy, is it reminds me of that. And then I paired it with a skein of Hedgehog Merino Silk in the Budgie colorway. And there's a nice sheen. The halo on this thing is insane. And it doesn't match perfectly, but honestly, it's like, it's actually playing off of each other really well, because the Budgie is a little bit more subdued under, like it goes well enough. I don't know why I'm trying to justify that, because obviously it looks gorgeous. But yeah, like it just offsets the underwater nicely. And then this stitch marker is from Riv Creative on Etsy. Yeah, I love it. So it's just garter stitch back and forth. Obviously it starts at this end, and then you increase until you get so many stitches. It is paid for pattern, so I don't want to tell you. And there's a little bit of detailing on the edge here, just so you're not completely bored. And it plays really nicely with the two different yarns, so it's got a really cool texture. It's a little bit of a cable. Focus. No, there, that's a little bit better. But yeah, you can see how the edge is just cabled with the two yarns. So it's really nice. It's so soft and it's super light. I'm really surprised how light it is. Now, obviously this is like, I think this is nearly 100 gram skein, but so it'll be heavier once it's finished. But like the merino silk, I think is only 50 grams. So for the size it's going to end up being, it's going to be amazingly light, and it'll be nice and soft next to skin. It's super gorgeous. Like this will be something that will probably become a staple in my wardrobe, simply because I do like to wear bright colors even if they don't match. And this right now is living in one of my small box bags. Let me get everything back into it and I can show you. Small box bag. And as you can see, it all fits nicely in there. If I actually don't just stuff my yarn in cruelly, you can see that they actually sit on the bottom there quite nicely. And then your project. And it's got one of the Scruffed Cat Progress Keepers on the bottom. So now this is Japanese fabric. It's one of the ones I made. And then the Progress Keeper, which are available in my shop, BT Dubs, is actually made by a woman in Kyoto. These are all hand painted. They're clay charms, and you can use it as a progress keeper or a zip pull. And look at this little chubby tummy. Look at that chubby tummy. So yeah, and she individually hand paints every single little detail on these guys. They're absolutely insane, and I love them. She was actually there when I started going to Japan on exchange. And I found her my first trip, and then have added to my collection since. I love them. I love the little scruffed kitties. So that kind of brings me into everything else. Obviously not for 2 months, not a lot of knitting, which is okay. I am kind of in a knitting funk right now. Nothing's really calling my name, so I'm gonna have to just kind of plow through a few things to get them done, and then hopefully I cast on something that sparks my interest a bit more. I do still really want to finish the Hitofude. Our plans this year have changed vastly from what they were at the beginning of the year. So I want to finish that. We're actually heading down to Disney in October. So I want to finish Hitofude for that, because I think it'll be a nice layering piece for the evenings, and it'll be light and simple to carry while still looking really good. And yeah. So I have been listening to a lot of audiobooks this past few weeks. What have I been listening to? I haven't actually, because I haven't even really touched a physical book. Dallas got me an e-reader for Christmas, which was awesome. It's exactly what I asked for. And because with us traveling so much, usually, I wanted something that's a little bit easier to carry. I've been really anti e-reader for a really long time, like since I was in university. But I've been reading, or I had been reading a lot more on my phone because the library has a really good ebook resource, like really good ebooks. And so I was like, okay, I want an e-reader because my phone's all well and good, but it's easier to read on a little bit larger screen at least. And the e-reader has a nice, it'll take the blue light out so that I can actually read it at night without worrying about keeping myself awake, unlike the iPhone. So yeah, I want to kind of upgrade to that. So what I've been reading, I was reading the third in the Stephanie Lawrence series, which is The Brazen Bride. It's a quartet, so I'm 3 out of 4. I'm about halfway through that. And then I read and finished The Forest of Hands and Teeth. I think that's what it was called. It's kind of a zombie horror, well, it is a zombie horror book. And I think I'm gonna read the next one, but I'll figure that out later. Then I listened to the whole of the selection, the first 3 books, so the original trilogy. That definitely came out in the post-dystopian time period. I think it was right at the end of it because it was published in 2014, and post-dystopian I think was like 2012 to 2015. I would not recommend it. It's basically The Bachelor with 35 women, and all of the conflict that could happen is because there's a love triangle, and then all of the really interesting stuff about rebels and like political intrigue and things like that is kind of like, well, it is secondary. It's completely secondary, and it just doesn't seem to like affect anything really. Like it does, but it doesn't. It's really weird. It's like, yeah, and then the ending is just too convenient. Now, for saying that, I did actually listen to all 3. I don't honestly know why. Hey, there's Flynn again. Because honestly, they were terrible. They hit so many of the tropes that I dislike about that time period. Like the whole having to be validated by a dude because the main female is like all unsure and doesn't have the self-confidence, even though everyone else is telling her that she can do something. So it's just kind of, yeah, I don't know why I finished. The writing is fine. I'm sure the author is fantastic in other books as well. It's just that it was from that time period when this was the trend, and I knew that that trend drove me insane. I've talked about it before, but for your new viewers, it drove me insane. And so it's just kind of like, I don't know what I was doing. I must have lost my brain for a little bit. So there was that, and then I've been reading or listening to, well, I listened to the whole of the Lady Mary Trent series. I've read that one before, but I decided I wanted to listen to it. That's A Natural History of Dragons and the 5 other books, so the quintet. That was really good. The narrator for that is really good as well. I think it's Kate Redding. And those books are by Marie Brennan. And then I've been listening to Sarah J. Maas, the Throne of Glass series, because I hadn't actually, like, I finished Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash this year, but I hadn't actually gone back and read or reread everything before that. So listening to it again, it's actually really awesome to be able to pick up on some of the clues that she's laid earlier in the books. So right now I'm on Queen of Shadows, and about 2/3 of the way through that, so I've got another third to go. I'm also listening to Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. I don't know who narrates that one. That one's from the library. And that's pretty much it. What took up a lot of my time, so when I was resting let's go into shenanigans, because it's been a while. But after I started resting my arm from the tendonitis, I actually played a lot of video games. Kingdom Hearts 3 finally has come out after like, I think it was 13 years or something ridiculous since Kingdom Hearts 2 came out. But I haven't played it yet. No spoilers. No spoilers for me, no spoilers for anyone else. I'm not going to actually talk about that because I haven't caught up on any of like the rest of the games. So Dallas had never seen the series. He's a big gamer, but he has never seen the series. So I was like, okay, well, this is the series that I'll play, because generally what we do is he plays and I knit or do whatever, mostly knit. But I was like, okay, this is the series that I'll play and you watch because I enjoy it. And we got through Kingdom Hearts 1 easy peasy, and then we started Kingdom Hearts 2, and it was like, oh, it was insane. I think I've chatted about this recently too, but it's a long game, and the beginning, you're playing and 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 you're like, cool, this is fine, and then you get the title screen finally at 4.25 hours in. I was not playing slow either. Like, I wasn't really doing I don't think I did anything extra in the prologue, but it just is that long. So we kind of stalled out right after that because that was really long to finally get to the title screen, because you get Kingdom Hearts 2 and then you save and it's like 4.25 hours in. Apparently they fixed that for 3, but anyway, so we did finish playing 2, and I played, actually in between, before we finished 2, I played 358 2 Days, which is a DS game that they released as a bridge between 1 and 2, but you're supposed to play the games in release order. So 3582 came out after Kingdom Hearts 2. Don't worry. The only reason I know this is because I had to read multiple articles about how to play these games and when to play these games. So if it sounds confusing, it is. But it's a bridge game between 1 and 2 to give you more backstory on what's actually happening in 2. But it also gives away a lot that's happening in 2. So it's good that I played it. Like, I kind of remembered what happened in 2 very vaguely. But it did give me a lot of backstory for 2, so it was really fun to actually play it and then go back and play Kingdom Hearts 2 after I had actually done 3582. Because it's not like it spoiled anything for me, but it did add a lot of layers to Kingdom Hearts 2 that I enjoyed. Now the kicker is, there's actually another mainline game that I hadn't known had come out. Because what ended up happening is that we had a PlayStation 2 when I was younger, and so I played 1 and 2, and then all these other games got released on different consoles, and I didn't have the time or the money to put into these until recently. So I haven't kept up. And then I went, okay, well, I'll play all the games that I know are... I knew 3582 was fairly important. I'm not playing Chain of Memories because that card system is insane and not happening. But then I found out that one that I thought was actually a bridge game is a prequel. So that's Birth by Sleep, which is a game that I have to go through and play all the way through. It's another 60-hour game. So the good news is that I haven't got 3 yet. The bad news is, well, it's good news. I don't have it yet, so I get to play through. Now with the secret project happening, I haven't had a lot of downtime recently, which is why there hasn't been a lot of knitting recently. There also hasn't been any video game time recently. And I do have actually quite a bit of admin work to do in the next bit because of taxes. So it'll be a little bit before I get to it. But apparently they did at least fix the prologue issue for 3, where it's kind of annoying. They actually released it as a pre-game game with a couple other things on a different console again, because you can't have them all on one console in October. So right now I'm playing Final Mix 1.5, 2.5 and all of that, but I got it on 3 because I didn't know they were going to re-release everything as 2.8 on the 4, or else it would just gotten a different console again, or waited for a bit to get the 4 instead of the 3, but whatever, it was working. I am enjoying going back and playing it though. I think the games have actually aged decently. The graphics obviously are quite they haven't aged well, but the gameplay and the storyline has aged really well. And that's what I keep thinking. It's like, this game came out 2 console generations ago, which is insane. So it's going to be so pretty. And that's partly why I want to go through and play everything now before I get to 3, because the graphic jump is just going to be probably exponential. And I like retro games. I would count Kingdom Hearts as retro now, but 3 is going to be so pretty, and I'm so excited. And there's some levels that I'm like, I've been waiting for and I'm super excited to see. So there's that. What else is happening? We've been watching a lot of anime recently. We actually binged a couple series. One of the ones we're watching right now that we're both really enjoying, there's a few actually. We're watching Rise of the Shield Hero, and that's really good. Realistically, I can't say much about it besides go watch it. It is not for younger children. The themes and everything like that is definitely mid to older teen. And then we're watching, this one is safe for kids so far. Yeah. My Roommate is a Cat. Super awesome split between the 2 characters, and it's really funny, but it will totally hit you in the heart. Oh, it gets the emotions going pretty much every episode. It's insane. So I hope it like chills a bit with the emotional like heartstring plucking, because honestly it's such a good series, but you gotta be in the right mood to watch it, guys. And then we're watching also a Reverse Harem, which is decent. I don't watch reverse harems very often. I don't know why. They're fun. This one's pretty decent. It's Meiji Girl Renka, or Tokyo Meiji Girl Renka. She's sent back in time to the Meiji era from the modern era, and shenanigans happen. It's an isekai, so it's an otherworld anime. It's decent. It's nice and light, which is good. We started watching one of the Granddaddy animes, which has been re-released. We're watching the newest release of Gegege no Kitaro, which is about Japanese yokai. And the really awesome thing about that, I saw a version of it when I was actually in Japan. I did a monsters course, and of course it's it is literally one of the Granddaddy anime and manga, like up there with Astro Boy, sort of Granddaddy. And the really awesome thing is that every series that they've produced, because it's been re-released, basically it seems like every generation they do a re-release, but it's been produced by the same people every single time. And that means it's got the same opening song every single time. So even from the first anime, which I think was produced in 68, 69, to today, it's the same opening. Now, obviously performed by different people and all of this, but it's so cool to hear that, because we sat down to watch it and I'm like, this sounds familiar. So, and that's what they've done. They've re-released it with the same theme song every single time. We watched a waifu one, which is Konosuba. That was fun. I'm really looking forward to the next series. We're waiting on Attack on Titan, which I'm sure a lot of you, even if you don't watch anime, you've heard of, which apparently is supposed to be coming out in April. And we did start Blue Planet 2. I find that one hard to watch though. So we're just taking it kind of one episode at a time. It's not a binge watch. It's really pretty though. I am enjoying it. And of course I love David Attenborough, so why not? Yeah, and then we had Christmas obviously, and New Year's. We went out for New Year's to the Masquerade Ball again this year, and that was really good. The food was fantastic. And then it's just been this secret project, which I will reveal. I promise I will reveal it in the next few weeks. But it's just got to be finished before I do. And it's almost there, guys. It's like so close. Like I should be able to reveal in a couple weeks. Dallas has a bunch of work to do when he comes home next week. Excuse me. Apparently I need to finish my coffee. yeah, he's got a bunch of work to do, but it's nearly there. So, I guess one of the shop update things, I'm pretty much done with all the random stuff. If you have any questions, of course, always feel free to like post down in the comments or send me a DM. You can find me across social media as Atelier Nekozuki, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, although I'm not really I don't see a lot of messages on Tumblr, so that's probably not the best way to contact me. But yeah, I am around if you have questions. And there is the Ravelry group too, so if you want to come chat there or are more comfortable on like a message board situation, I am more than happy to chat there too. Yeah, but for shop news, the small bits that I do have, I have 2 shows coming up. I have Edmonton Fiber Frolic, which is May 25th in Edmonton, and I'll have more details on that coming up soon. I'll be bringing my gashapon again. So the gashapon is the little machine. It's a half-size machine of the toy machines you see in Japan. It's called a gashapon because of the noise it makes when you crank the dial on it. And so that will be for purchases over $100. You get a surprise discount and a progress keeper. While supplies last for the progress keepers, the discounts will just continue. Because the balls can just go back in. And then I have Knit City. So Knit City is the first weekend in October, so I think it's October 4th to 6th. The market is on the 5th and 6th? No. I will post dates to that sooner, but I am sponsoring that event again. I'm super excited to be back. That is my favorite event of the year for a retail show. I love all my other ones too, but you know, you have your favorites, and I always enjoy the like vibe of Knit City. And yeah, Dallas will be able to come with me this year, so if you're down at the event, you can come meet him. The mysterious Dallas, who is occasionally the peanut gallery for the show, you know, but he, because of his work schedule, he's not very often able to actually make these events. And I will have a 30-foot booth, so you'll be able to see so many of the bags, and it's super exciting. So there's some different things that I'm going to be able to do in that space too, which is really awesome. There'll be lots of space to browse. I think it's time. I was looking at it last year, and honestly, if I'd been able to, I would have taken 30 feet last year. And obviously it changes the dynamic. It changes costs significantly because then you need more display materials. But it'll get more bags out for you guys to see, which was super exciting. Yeah, and I'll be staying at my husband and I, Dallas and I, will be staying at the Atrium Inn. And it's gonna be a really awesome time. I'm looking forward to it already. I've already got our food planned out pretty much for the weekend, because there's a few places to go with him because he hasn't been again, and I kind of have Thursday night. You arrive and you go to Taco Fino down Hastings Street, and then sushi happens at some point in the weekend, usually for delivery on setup day. And yeah, and they have announced Knit Social or Knit City has announced their instructors. The instructor lineup looks awesome. So I'm really looking forward to that, and we'll find out what the keynote is and everything soon. And I'll go into some details about what prizes are coming up for being a sponsor and everything like that. So yeah. Anyway, I think I will wrap it up here. I've got some other things to get to today, and I hope you guys all have a fantastic week. I will be back next week, hopefully with a sock finished, at least for you guys. And I will chat with you soon. Thanks for joining me, and have an awesome day. Happy crafting. Bye.